You're looking for a charming, quintessentially New England town. You want it to have a vibrant, walkable downtown and a historic district, plus you want it to have top-rated schools. Well, guess what? East Greenwich, Rhode Island could be your next best move. Hi, I'm Jess Powers. I'm a full-time real estate agent and I work all over Rhode Island, and I use this channel in particular to help first-time buyers and sellers and people who are relocating to our state. Now, I've got a favor: click on that button, subscribe to my channel, but more importantly, reach out to me. I've got people reaching out to me all the time and I absolutely love it. I want to help you find the community that best meets your lifestyle and your budget. I don't want you to move to the wrong area, so jump on a call with me, let's set up a time and chat. Here we're going to talk about East Greenwich. So my kids went through the East Greenwich school system. I didn't live there, but my kid's dad did, so I spent a lot of time going back and forth to East Greenwich. There's really is a lot to love. The location is really a major bonus because it's right kind of in the middle, has the feel of kind of a South County town, but it's more centrally located within the state than the South County. It's tucked into kind of the western side of Narragansett Bay, and it borders Warwick. It borders North Kingstown. You've got West Greenwich and Coventry, and then small areas of West Warwick and Exeter. Now, about 20% of the land in East Greenwich is actually undeveloped farmland, although that is rapidly changing as more developments continue to be built. So a little bit of the history. It was originally formed and founded as Greenwich in 1677, and it was named for Greenwich, England. And then in 1876, it was changed to Dedford. What a weird name. That just doesn't quite have the same ring to it. But then they went back to Greenwich. I imagine that was a conversation where somebody was like, no, that guy is not cool. We do not want to name this town after him. We're going back to Greenwich. But the town's original size, it was too large for the citizens at the time. Actually, the story is that they complained about having to go to meetings. It was too cumbersome. So then in 1741, the more rural area of the state, the western part of the town, they just split off and they were like, we'll be West Greenwich, y'all can be East Greenwich. And that's what happened. So this time we're talking about East Greenwich. And the remaining eastern quarter, it was really just a quarter. It is what we now know as East Greenwich. So because it has such a long and storied history, there are a lot of historic places in EG, especially right within the town's downtown area. That's the historic district. Now, that area really had a resurgence, I would say probably within the past 10 years. When I moved to Rhode Island 20 years ago, there really wasn't that much going on in East Greenwich. There were a couple bridal places, and that was the thing that East Greenwich was known for. If you wanted a wedding dress, there were a couple shops that people said you had to go to, and a few restaurants, but that was really it. It's really changed over the past several years, 10 years, but I'd say even recent as the past 5 years. There are tons of little independently owned shops, all sorts of really great restaurants. You'd be surprised. A lot of people think, oh, all the great restaurants are in Providence, but no, East Greenwich actually has some really great places. There's also a vintage theater, the Odeum. They've got national, regional and national acts that come through there, some really great music, and it's a beautiful venue, very well run. I've got a bunch of great restaurants that are some of my favorite places. Bezos Bistro. I love Bezos Bistro. They've got a really beautiful outdoor porch, great spot with a girlfriend, glass of wine, hanging out. There is Rasa, which is an Indian restaurant. They have another one in Providence called Rasoy. That is my kids' favorite Indian restaurant. They absolutely love it. There's a cute little diner that's kind of wedged in between some other buildings called Jiggers. It's kind of one of those retro diners, kind of classic diner fare for breakfast and lunch. I love Frank and John's. It's a little Italian place. They have amazing Italian subs. We love to grab those on our way down to Narragansett Beach, take those sandwiches, and that's really great. That makes me want to do that next weekend. There's a little place around the corner, kind of off the beaten path, called Tio Mateo's Mexican Grill. I stop there pretty regularly if I want to grab a couple tacos. I could keep going. There's just a lot of really great places right downtown in East Greenwich. If you've got something specific in mind, or you're going to take a day trip there, which I highly recommend, reach out to me and I'll tell you the places to put on your list. People that live in the neighborhoods that are within that walkable distance to the downtown district, that's what they love. They love that their kids can walk to the elementary school. They can also walk to Cole Middle School. And, as an adult, you've got places that you can go for your own fun time. There's really actually pretty vibrant nightlife. Again, there's shows at the Odeum. They've got outdoor music and cocktails on the marina. There's Blue on the Water, and there's McKinley's Pub. That's right across from the Yacht Club. And then, away from the main strip, there's also the Trap, and then there's also Safe House. And then if you head up into Coesit, kind of right on that Warwick East Greenwich line, there's some other great restaurants, Shanty, Cellos on the Water. So there's just a ton of stuff to do. And I find that that's one of the things that people love about this area, whether they're in Warwick or East Greenwich. It's nice to have some place that you can go. Also, it's not that far from up the hill. There is, not within walking distance, but there is a big grocery store, and actually right in downtown East Greenwich, there is a little natural market. So the neighborhood that is right up on the hill, that's called the Hill and Harbor District. It is a historic district. There are some beautiful homes, a lot of them built in the late 1800s and early 1900s, some big, beautiful Victorian homes. Many of them have been renovated, and a lot of them have this gorgeous sweeping views of the bay. Now, if you're gonna be in Hill and Harbor, you do have to have a higher budget. You're gonna have to be at least at around $800,000 and up. There are some stunning properties that have been renovated over the past couple years. Beautiful one right on the hill that sold for $1.4 million. Some pretty steep budgets, but they're spectacular, really unique, special homes. And then of course there are some of those smaller neighborhoods that were built and expanded in the 40s and 50s. There's Lilybridge neighborhood, for example, that's still kind of within walking distance. So I'd say in general, the median sale price for the past 6 months for single family homes in East Greenwich is right at $660. Now certainly you can find the occasional home that's in that mid 400 range, but you really are gonna have to have a pretty tough budget that's gonna go pretty steep to give you more access to the different neighborhoods. That you don't only have the Hill and Harbor District, there are also lots of neighborhoods that are spread out because East Greenwich is a large area. And East Greenwich has always been an area that's really held its value and been popular to move to in any sort of market. So it's always been kind of an area that's been considered a good investment, even though there's always been limited inventory. So even though there's a pretty big geographical area that is East Greenwich, the community itself is actually pretty small. It's really centered around families. Their biggest draw, I think, is the schools. If you look at ratings, and I'm not telling you my own opinion, even though my kids did go through the school, if you look at, say, niche.com and look at different school ratings, you're gonna see that East Greenwich, similar to Barrington, those are two of the top rated school districts in Rhode Island. And so if that's a priority, this is gonna be an area that you wanna look at. And because of that, it really is centered around more of a family lifestyle. Taxes are pretty high, but again, you get a little bit more amenities. People feel like you're getting more amenities for those taxes. It kind of has more of a tight-knit community feel because everybody's going to see everybody at school events. There are those sort of hometown events where you've got parades. It also has a pretty active outdoor lifestyle, so because there's lots of outdoor amenities. There's boating and there's hiking. There's lots of hiking trails, lots of dog lovers. There are even restaurants on Main Street that offer kind of a pet-friendly outdoor seating. One of the town's most adorable events is this annual dog parade that they have. That coincides with one of the many, there are lots of Main Street events that happen each year. Residents also love East Greenwich's seasonal farmers markets. There's also an outdoor movie night. There's Summer's End annual concert, Memorial Day, Veterans Day parade. So just all sorts of things going on, especially in the warmer months. So East Greenwich offers people a lot of different housing options. Again, there are lots of historic homes right in that downtown downtown Hill and Harbor area. There's also some condos. That is really popular for a lot of people that are downsizing. Maybe they don't want to leave East Greenwich, but they're tired of living in their big ginormous houses because their kids have moved. There are some really great condos that offer beautiful views of the bay right there in the Hill and Harbor area. And then again, there are the big suburban homes. So the further you get out to the western part of the state, you're going to find more neighborhoods. They're not in walkable distance to that downtown area, but it's a quick drive. You are going to also find some of the newer developments. They've got big yards, and they're the kind of neighborhoods that kids can ride their bikes around in. So East Greenwich, it really does offer a lot for a lot of different people. So if you're looking for a town that's got all the comforts and outdoor amenities, but you also want to have sort of more of a cultural experience and live near a vibrant downtown, then East Greenwich could be your next best move. Now, reach out to me. If you tell me a few of your priorities, we can talk about what your budget is, and I can help you to decide if East Greenwich is the right community for you, and if it is, what part might be best suited for you and your family and your lifestyle. I'm Jess Powers. I'm always here to help.